To call a family like this, it is about the most difficult thing you could imagine. It's not the phone call that parents, family members are looking forward to. It's nice to do it.
What a day at the White House. Unexpected appearance from the White House Chief of Staff today. John Kelly, a retired Marine Corps general, a Gold Star parent. He offered an emotional statement saying he was brokenhearted by a congresswoman's criticism of President Donald Trump's call to a fallen soldier's widow.
I just thought the selfless devotion that brings a man or woman to die on the battlefield, I just thought that that might be sacred. And when I listened to this woman and what she was saying and what she was doing on TV, the only thing I could do to collect my thoughts was to go and walk among the finest men and women on this earth. And you can always find them because they're in Arlington National Cemetery.
Now, we need some context, and we're going to get it here tonight. Kelly's appearance before reporters comes days after the president pulled him into the political storm by saying Kelly did not get a call from then-President Obama after his son died in combat. Kelly said he did not get that call, but that wasn't a criticism or a negative thing. Kelly and his wife were invited to a Gold Star breakfast in May of 2011 and sat at then First Lady Michelle Obama's table. Let's bring in our panel right now. Niall Stanage, White House columnist at The Hill. China Dickerson with D.C. Young Democrats. Tim Young with the Washington Examiner. Now, let's start with you. You were at the White House today. You were in the audience. You heard General Kelly. What was going on there? What did you hear? What was said?
It was clearly a very dramatic appearance. It was received as such. It was a very intense moment. I don't think anyone would quarrel with General Kelly's experience, which is, of course, massively traumatic. But this issue having been politicised in the first place, can it be depoliticised, really? Or does he inevitably come across as if he's out there to back President Trump up in a controversial sequence of events?
Mm-hmm. China, your take?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, I respect General Kelly. My brother is actually a Marine veteran, and so I think it's important that we appreciate the service that all of the men and women dedicate their lives to every day. I do think, as has been said, that this is now politicized. I think that the president did not need to reference back to what President Obama did. And I also think Congresswoman Wilson, that he just should have not addressed it at all and said the conversation I had with the widow was the conversation that I had and that it's private, and left it there.
Tim?
I'm going to agree with China. Why are we here? Why are we talking about this right now? There are so many things that this country needs to accomplish and get done under this administration, hopefully could get done under this administration, and it's another misspoken statement by Trump. It shouldn't have come up to begin with.
You think General Kelly was out there following orders from his commander-in-chief, or do you think he volunteered for this?
It's difficult to say. You can't put yourself inside his head, but I think particularly his criticisms of the Congresswoman will be controversial. We're already seeing some pushback in that element on social media and places like that. Now, many people will say he was right to say what he said and that he was right to back up the president. But I just think that in the moment that we're in right now, everything gets pulled into a political interpretation.
Well, let's talk about what the Congresswoman said. You know, she kind of injected herself into this situation, right? This was a conversation between the president and the wife, the widow, okay? Should the Congresswoman perhaps have said nothing, stayed out of it?
I think that she should have stayed out of it. I think that, and to go back to your earlier question, I don't think anyone tells General Kelly what to do. Right. I think, you know, Donald Trump might have said, hey, you advised me. Can you say what you told me? Right. Maybe that'll help ease things because you're very well respected on both sides. But I do think the Congresswoman, she should have been there to comfort the widow and serve as she has. But I don't think that she should have revealed. I think General Kelly is right in that instance. She should
or to try to look into the president's heart and try and translate what he was talking about. Okay, are we ever going to know why these soldiers were in North Africa, what they were doing?
No. That was my first question. Like, what? I didn't even know we were in Niger doing anything.
Right.
Like, what is going on here? Right. Like, why are Americans not aware of this?
I got it, but we're probably in a lot of places where we don't know and aren't supposed to know. But in light of what's happened, at some point in time, maybe a congressional a committee, somebody is going to want to know, and it's probably making a demand. We need to know now, full disclosure.
No, they'll just use the defense as like national security. As you just said, there are a lot of places that we shouldn't be, and I think they'll just use the defense that it's national security. I am interested, though, in why that particular gentleman was left behind.
That was going to be one of my questions also. Okay, you think we'll find an answer to that? Because we know the motto, you leave nobody behind.
It's very shrouded in mystery right now. There is going to be an inquiry, as there always is, as I understand it, when American service people are killed. But an inquiry and getting to the truth of what happened are not always the same thing, as we know, particularly when national security concerns, as China mentioned, can be cited.
To be continued. Thank you all very much. A lot of talk on the politics surrounding all this, but not enough around the 4 soldiers that died in Niger, if you ask me. And I want to tell you a little bit about each of them, just a little bit. Staff Sergeant Brian Black, you see him on the far left. He learned the native language because he wanted to communicate directly with the people of Niger. Sergeant LaDavid Johnson on the middle left. He married his childhood sweetheart, was expecting his 3rd child. On the middle right of your screen, Staff Sergeant Dustin Wright. He came from a family deeply rooted in military service, dating back to 1812. I think I heard a family member say he's the first to be lost. And on the far right, Staff Sergeant Jeremiah Johnson. He earned more than a dozen military commendations. They came from across the country. Each man leaves a lasting legacy on his community.